Nairobi does not belong to one person, and it does not belong to a boardroom where people sit down and make decisions based on what they want. And that's why we were saying this. As a rich person, as a poor person, as a middle class person. Good afternoon, members of the Fourth Estate. My name is Francis Awino. I'm the convener, Mtetezi. And today is a very important day to us, not just as Mtetezi, but as Nairobians and the people who live in this nation. We have seen so many people saying a lot of things and saying how we should live in this city. And today we are saying, as the Nairobians, it's a high time we get a solution to this nation. We get a solution to this county. We get a solution to this Nairobi. We all know Nairobi is the capital city of Kenya. It is the heart of East and Central Africa. It is the heart again of Africa. And that's why we see all investors are flocking this nation through Nairobi so that they can attain what they want. Moving forward, we have seen a lot of projects moving around Kilimani and all sorts of Nairobi. It is a good thing to this nation because it creates livelihood. But at the same time, we need to ask ourselves questions that we cannot run away from. If you check the sewage system, if you go to the drainage system, if you move to work, it means we need to have a solution that our kids will be happy because of a decision that we have made today.
My name is Sifuna Misenya Stella, in charge of communication at Mtetezi. We are here for a press statement, date 14th March 2026. Nairobi at a crossroads, Mtetezi calls for national conversation on the future governance of our capital. The Mtetezi is a grassroots economic justice movement, wishes to initiate a national conversation on the future governance of Nairobi. As Kenya's political and economic heart, Nairobi plays a role far beyond that of an ordinary county. Yet, the city continues to operate under the same administrative framework as all other devolved units. The question before Nairobi residents at the entire country is simple but important. Should Nairobi continue to function as a county, or should it be restructured into a special metropolitan capital city that reflects its national and regional role? This is not merely an academic debate. It's rooted in the lived reality of Nairobi and the metropolitan region that surrounds it. The core structural challenge: Nairobi functions as the center of a vast metropolitan system that extends well beyond its administrative boundaries. Every day, economic and social life flows seamlessly between Nairobi and neighboring counties such as Kiambu County, Machakos County, and Kajiado County. Thousands of workers reside in towns such as Ruiru, Thika, Kitengela, Ngong, Athi River, and Syokimau, while earning their livelihoods within Nairobi. Businesses operate across county lines, transport systems carry commuters across jurisdictions, and environmental systems link the entire region into a single urban ecosystem. Despite this reality, governance and planning remain fragmented across separate county administrations. This result is a structural imbalance. Nairobi's infrastructure supports millions of commuters who reside outside the county. Urban planning decisions affecting the metropolitan region are made independently by different counties. Revenue systems do not always match the demand placed on Nairobi's roads, services, and public utilities. As the nation capital, Nairobi City also hosts key institutions of government, diplomatic missions, and international organizations, placing responsibilities on the city that go beyond those of ordinary counties. These realities have repeatedly compelled national governments to intervene in the management of the capital. A history of national government intervention. The governance challenges facing Nairobi are not new. Over the past 2 decades, successive administrations have introduced special arrangements to stabilize services and coordinate metropolitan planning. In 2008, during the presidency of Mwai Kibaki, the government established the Nairobi Metropolitan Ministry. This intervention was driven by recognition that Nairobi's growth had expanded into surrounding counties, creating an urgent need for coordinated regional planning in transport, housing, and infrastructure. The ministry sought to address the fragmentation of development between Nairobi and its rapidly expanding commuter towns. In 2020, under the leadership of President Uhuru Kenyatta, the national government created National Nairobi Metropolitan Services (NMS). This intervention followed a period of severe service delivery breakdown within the city administration, where roads, sanitation, and urban planning had deteriorated significantly. NMS temporarily transferred several key county functions to the national government in order to restore essential services and stabilize governance in the capital. More recently, the administration of William Ruto has adopted a cooperation framework between the national government and the leadership of Governor Johnson Sakaja. This partnership focuses on joint investment in infrastructure, development, urban transport systems, and sanitation services. The initiative acknowledges that Nairobi's infrastructure demands often exceed the capacity of a single county government and require coordinated national support. Although these inventions differ in form, they all reveal a consistent reality. Nairobi's governance challenges stem largely from its metropolitan nature and its role as the capital of the republic. Open the debate. County or metropolitan capital city? Mtetezi believes that the time has come for an honest national conversation on whether Nairobi's current governance structure adequately reflects its realities. One option is to maintain Nairobi as a county under Kenya's devolved system while strengthening cooperation with neighboring counties at the national government. Another option is to consider transforming Nairobi into a special metropolitan capital city, a model adopted in several major world capitals including Washington, D.C., London, and Abuja. These cities operate under governance frameworks specifically designed to reflect their dual roles as local municipalities and national capitals. What a metropolitan Nairobi could look like. If Nairobi were to adopt a metropolitan capital city structure, governance could include several elements designed to address the city's unique challenges. A metropolitan capital territory could manage the urban core of Nairobi while maintaining strong local representation and accountability. A Nairobi Metropolitan Authority could coordinate regional planning across Nairobi, Kiambu, Machakos, and Kajiado counties, particularly in areas such as transport system, house development, and environmental protection and economic infrastructure. The city could retain an elected metropolitan governor supported by a professional city executive administration responsible for managing complex urban systems such as public transport, waste management, water systems, and metropolitan infrastructure. Such an arrangement will also establish a structured coordination framework between the national government and the capital city in areas such as security, diplomacy, and major national infrastructure. A conversation that belongs to the public. Mtetezi emphasizes that this discussion is not about dismantling devolution, but about ensuring that the governance of Kenya's capital reflects its realities as both as national city and regional metropolis. The future of Nairobi should be shaped through open public participation, involving residents of Nairobi, citizens in neighboring counties, businesses, civil society organizations, urban planners, and policymakers. As the city continues to grow and the metropolitan region expand, Kenya must confront a fundamental question: what governance structure will best serve Nairobi and the nation in the decades ahead? Mtetezi therefore calls on stakeholders across the country to engage in a thoughtful, constructive conversation on the future governance of the capital city. Thank you.
Nairobi does not belong to one person, and it does not belong to a boardroom where people sit down and make decisions based on what they want. And that's why we were saying this. As a rich person, as a poor person, as a middle class person, we all need to have a conversation that will be based on the interests of Nairobians, that will be based on the interest of the people who are living in this nation. And that's why we are calling for a consultative meeting towards all the 17 constituencies around Nairobi, so that we can discuss, we can convene, and we can come up with an agreement on how we want our city to look like. It is so sad that our leaders in Nairobi, governor and the president, when they are enjoying the tax of Nairobi, they enjoy it fully. But when it comes to problems, they start telling us that the leaders who are sitting in city are the people who are not doing the right thing for this nation. And that's why we are saying today, we will be moving to all 17 constituencies, starting from Kawangware, in Dagoretti. And from Kawangware, we will move to other constituencies. And at the end, we shall call for our white collar people so that they still can come and convene and discuss about Nairobi. We want a situation where there is inclusivity on discussing the matters that are pertaining Nairobi. And that's why as Mtetezi, we have decided to put the problems that we are facing as Nairobians to an end, so that we can discuss and come out with a solution that will bring positivity towards this city called Nairobi. Thank you very much. May God bless you all. May God bless Kenya. Asanteni sana.
Sawa Mtetezi.
Any questions?
If there is any question from the
Sawa.
We don't have questions.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, my name is Makolonde Charles, and I'm in charge of research and policy at Mtetezi, the grassroots economic justice movement. And mine is just to emphasize on the historical reasons why we believe that Nairobi at this time should have a conversation on whether we continue as a county or we go the metropolitan route. And this is because when Nairobi was made a capital, the population was less than 100,000. At independence in 1963, the Nairobi population was 300 to 400,000, less than 500,000. And you realize that the planning that went into Nairobi was able to accommodate up to around 2 million. And that's why you realize that during the Kenyatta regime and the Moi regime, they rarely interfered with the governance of Nairobi. But when Kibaki came in, the Nairobi population had hit around 3 million residents. And that's why he had to create a ministry under Mutula Kilonzo called Nairobi Metropolitan, so that to consider and take care of the realities of the day. And also, as you have heard, when Uhuru also came in, he found that Nairobi cannot operate as a county without cooperation with the national government, hence the NMS. And also, as recently as you know, William Ruto and Governor Sakaja have had a cooperation agreement. So the question that we pose to the Nairobians, because this is very important, is who is a Nairobian? What is Nairobi? Because you realize that as of today, Nairobi has more than 4 million residents. But almost 1.5 live or reside outside what we can consider the geographical county of Nairobi. So what happens? You find that we are in a situation where somebody living in Ruiru, which is in Kiambu, somebody living in Kitengela, which is Kajiado, somebody living in Mlolongo, which is Machakos, spends and earns from Nairobi, but consider themselves to be non-residents of Nairobi. We need to rework how Nairobi works, and that's why, as Mtetezi, we are proposing a conversation so that we can resolve these things once and for all. So that we create, one suggestion is create a metropolitan. We accept that Nairobi is bigger than what we call Nairobi County, or we retain the way it is, But our fears is, if we go the way we are going, the next regime will continue doing what the other regimes have been doing, and Nairobians will always feel that governor amewauza, governor amewapeana kwa national government, while in truth the governor is not able to handle Nairobi the way it is. Thank you.
Yes, members of the Fourth Estate, my name is Paul Victor. I'm part of the operation management at Grassroots Economic Justice. So just to reiterate what my colleagues have shared, Nairobi is very critical. For us to boast as one of the best cities in Africa, it means there are a lot that need to be done. And as grassroots social justice crusaders, and Mtetezi as a whole, we represent the downtrodden, the people who cannot make it to this press, to share the grievances and challenge all the stakeholders in this to address the matter. As you know, it is just less than 2 years to election, and Nairobi is the most affected when it comes to the politics and governance issues in this country. So we want to urge all the stakeholders to be involved. Those who are understand that there is arrangement between the county government of Nairobi and the national government. We are asking them to involve all the stakeholders, including the grassroots activists like us, so that we can chart a way forward. If that will not happen, then it will force us to mobilize the public and protest and demand that this matter be addressed as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you to the members of the Fourth Estate. My name is Nyanjom Joshua. Actually, I'm the national coordinator for Grassroots Mtetezi initiative. We've heard that Nairobi has a population of around about 4.8 million, but 70% or 75% of the entire population of Nairobi it's are young. To mean that it's an age bracket between 18 to 35. That's the majority of people are Nairobians. But when you hear somebody telling us that the problem of Nairobi it started a long time ago, it's close to about 100 years, then he's telling us that he cannot solve that problem within 3 years, then it shows us the level of incompetence in that person. Because us as young people, you won't tell us that you ride on our backs promising us heaven, but during crisis you're telling us your hands are tied, you cannot solve the problem. When you are campaigning, you knew all the challenges that Nairobi has. You knew that Nairobi was built in a swampy area. What has you done to solve that issue? Other than complaining that the people, your predecessors, were there and they were unable to solve the problem. Why were you coming to replace them if you knew you had no solution to Nairobi's challenges? That's why we are calling out those people who are also eyeing for the gubernatorial seat of Nairobi, that if you know you'll be campaigning on our backs, yet you know you are coming to be you're going to be a governor of a swampy city, just hold your horse. We are inviting you to a national conversation that us as Nairobians, we won't sit behind to see our fellows die after every crisis, because we know close to 26 people that you are told died during the floods. But that's not the exact number, because some maybe died and we were not told. So what we are asking the national government together with the county government of Nairobi, that us as Mtetezi, we need to have a final solution to Nairobi. That's what you are calling, not the issue of after every regime, after every election, the national government put its nose into issue of the Nairobi county. What you are calling out as young people, because you are the majority and people who are being affected, most of you people who are occupying those political seats, you are outliving. So we won't inherit problems that you created. If you cannot solve those problems now, then give us the platform. We come and argue the Nairobi we want. Thank you.